What's going on, everyone? Hey, I know that news has been kind of slow, and I appreciate those of you that are still grinding it out with me, watching the videos, engaging in the comment section, liking and sharing the videos. Big news is coming, I'm sure. It always is. But I'm still going to do my job over here, and that is to entertain, try to put out 2 to 3 videos a day that people really enjoy and gets them through the day. So I know I have that responsibility to you, and I appreciate you for watching the videos. Now, this video is going to have more kind of serious overtones, more overtly political thoughts. And normally, I have now dedicated my Midwestly channel, which is pinned in the top comment below, for that type of thing. It's not just gaming, but it's more societal commentary. But this video, I think, belongs on the main channel. The New York Times, of all places. This is why mainstream media is just trash. From Fortnite to alt-right. There's a reason video games are such fertile ground for white national recruitment. This article, as we know, is complete BS. It's pushing for this time-tested, not scientifically proved link between video games and people doing bad things. This is a not in good faith argument. This is a clickbait, hate baiting article, which is why I'll leave an archived link in the description below. There's never been any evidence linking bad behavior like we've seen in New Zealand and other places like that to video games. These are people who happened to play video games. You could make, and many of you are very smart, and I know that I'm probably preaching to the choir, but let me break it down to maybe somebody new to this kind of debate. The debate is simple. The media pushes a narrative that gamers bad because a few bad people did bad things but also played games, so therefore they're linked. This is a fallacy. No actual scientific evidence backs this up, but it hasn't stopped the media since the 90s from pushing this BS narrative. I could make, just for sake of argument, the same argument about energy drinks. Or how about church? There are hundreds of millions of gamers across this planet. Obviously, you have a huge cross-section of society, and you're going to have a few insane people lumped in that also play video games. Causation, correlation are not related. You have, of course, there are people who play video games that do bad things. There are also religious people that do bad things. There are people that drink energy drinks that do bad things. There are people that go to elementary school that do bad things. These are not related. Broken people, crazy people, they exist in a cross-section of society, and the bigger that cross-section is, in this case video games, the more of these people you're going to have. But it doesn't stop the articles. No, it doesn't, because it gets clicks. But it's my job to debunk this. It's your job to listen to what I have to say on it and make up your own mind. If you agree, then help by sharing the message, because these articles must be countered. They cannot exist unchallenged. Let's get one thing out of the way. No, that person who live streamed himself doing very bad things in New Zealand this month was not being serious when he wrote that Spyro the Dragon 3 taught him bad things and that Fortnite trained him. In the very first paragraph, this author starts with an acknowledgement that they know that they are taking the bait, but they're going to write the article anyway. Second paragraph. Rather, with this statement, The person was ridiculing a trope that has circulated media increasingly since 1999, when the video games were capable of brainwashing vulnerable teenagers and turning them into sociopaths. Again, acknowledging that you know you're feeding into it, but you're writing it anyway. Some media outlets have described this section of the manifesto in particular as trolling or bait. No, it's not some media outlets. It's anybody with a brain knows that you're literally taking the bait, you idiot. But you continue to write the article anyway. And yet, as a scholar, I love it when people refer to themselves as scholars, who studies video game culture, I do want to talk about gaming because I think it plays a special role as a vector for spreading the messages of white supremacist ideology that lead to violence. What? This is the exact point I made ahead of time. You could say the same thing about church, right? You could say the same thing about elementary school. You could say the same thing about just about anything that puts people together and talking. It's the same reason they use the Chan boards, image boards, as their whipping boy or girl. Because it happens there does not mean it cultivates it. Because there's a rally in a public park, does that mean that parks are facilitating Klan activity? That is the same logic that this scholar is putting forth because there is absolutely no scientifically backed evidence that links the two. Sometimes people are just bad. I think it's a conversation that we have to have without taking the bait. You already took it, you idiot. I digress. Because it's not about the content of the games themselves, but the way the culture that surrounds gaming provides particularly fertile ground for sowing the seeds of resentment that grow into hate. Oh my God. You could write the same article about YouTube. You could write the same article about Facebook. You could write the same article about Twitter. But as yet again, we see that gamers are the most oppressed culture on the planet because they write this article about gaming, not about those other things. Modern internet-based recruitment. By the way, I've played video games since I was 8 years old. I've never been recruited by anybody. Maybe they don't like me. Modern internet-based recruitment efforts are designed around the creation of frictionless pipeline that slowly inoculates potential converts to hate. Like putting a bunch of Pepe the Frogs in a slowly boiling pot. You're still talking about Pepe? And none of this, by the way, none of this is backed up by any scientific evidence. This is an opinion piece that appears in the New York Times. Rather than waiting for targets to find them, recruiters go where targets are, staging seemingly casual conversations about the issues of race and identity in a space where lots are disaffected, vulnerable adolescent white males, of course, because only whites can be racist, tend to hang out. Those who exhibit curiosity about who white nationalist talking points or express frustration with the alt-right's ideological opponents such as feminist, anti-racism activists, and SJWs are escorted through a funnel of increasingly racist rhetoric designed to normalize the presence of supremacist ideology and paraphernalia through the use of edgy humor and memes. No! Not memes. By the way, look, do I think that I have alt-right viewers on this channel? Of course. Do I think there are tens of thousands of them? Nope. Do I think there's thousands of them? Nope. Do I think there's maybe hundreds? Probably not. The thing is, the media needs a boogeyman. And they constantly build up the alt-right as similar in size to the Democrats or the Republicans. Something to be feared, something gigantic. It's a tiny movement. You've got like 3 major alt-right YouTubers on YouTube, and all of them are under 20,000 subscribers. Truly alt-right. Not what the media says, actual self-identifying alt-right people. And I'm not even taking a jab at them. You're allowed to believe whatever you want to believe. I am not here to judge someone's personal political beliefs. I'm not here to endorse any either. But the fact of the matter is the media built up this boogeyman so that they would have articles to write. Of course, video games aren't the only place online. Oh, look at that. Ha! Social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube are often common culprits. Not NewYorkTimes.com, though. You should go there. You should go there. And of course, we've got to talk about Gamergate. Ooh, Gamergate. As events like the 2014 harassment campaign, Gamergate, it wasn't a harassment campaign, amply demonstrated to some members of the gaming community that the increased visibility of people of color, women, LGBTQ, not plus, people in gaming circles is seen less as an expansion and more as a hostile takeover. Well, you know why people might think this? And I think that there's obviously natural ways to integrate and provide representation, but it's when it's crowbarred in. It's because it literally is a hostile takeover. Look at some of these certified blue check marks that work for game development companies arguing with their customers. Look at what Battlefield 5 did to their customer base. Don't like it, don't buy it. Doesn't that sound like hostile to you? That's coming from the developer. And it's like they say, who white supremacist recruiters? How many of those are there? 11 worldwide? They've recognized this feeling out of resentment bubbling up and pounced, seeking out gamers who fit the stereotype. They tell gamers that they really do represent the rightful majority within their community. This article is bollocks. So if we know gaming culture is being exploited by recruiters, where do we go from here? It can be tempting to write off video games as toxic hotbeds of hate, too tainted for the uninitiated to engage with. But this would be exactly like what the New Zealand guy wanted. This inattention to signal that gaming is a special place outside of the mainstream that could indeed, with enough outright hostility, be made to belong to a particular group. Here's the thing. There is absolutely nothing inherent about playing video games that leads to anything this idiot has postulated here. For example, I am a lifelong single-player mode game player. I don't think I've ever actively played video games with a microphone. Ever. So and I believe that there are millions more like me. How exactly am I going to get recruited if I can't talk or choose not to talk to anybody? There will always be dark corners of the internet for Nazis to hide and recruit from. They don't exist in any real numbers. There will always be those who claim that gaming isn't for everyone. Gaming is for everybody. Just that's why it's so huge, you idiot. But we can insist that companies that control gaming spaces recognize that this community comes with extreme dangers and that gaming is large enough that these companies need to behave as responsible actors. That's right, regulate. We can only help to reshape and reform these communities from within. And if we turn away, we risk abandoning the world's largest entertainment and communication machines for those who use it for evil ends. This article, who wrote this? Megan Condis. You know that they're a fake gamer. I've always said this. Look at, is an assistant professor of game studies and a gamer. If somebody tells you they're a gamer, they're not a gamer. That's like the number one indicator for me that somebody's a fake gamer, is if in the first couple sentences of an article they write, if it's in their Twitter bio. I mean, yes, there are gamers that do this, but it's a huge red flag to me. You wrote the word game twice out of 8 words, right? You are not smart. This article is fear-mongering, and it is profiting off the ridiculous behaviors of an insane person. But that doesn't stop you because you need clicks. And the New York Times should be absolutely ashamed that they printed this crap. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.